This is our second demonstrative pronoun and adjective video. In the first video, we looked at hic, haec, hoc, this, how I can say this book. But maybe I don't want to talk about this book. Maybe I want to talk about that one. Well, I need a different demonstrative, ille, illa, illud, which means that, and in the plural, those. If you haven't watched that first video on hic, haec, hoc, please watch that before you watch the second video. The first video goes into a little more depth, whereas for video number 2, I'm going to kind of breeze through some things that we talked about and established in video number 1. All right, let's get going. Quick recap. Ille, illa, illud is also a demonstrative, which shows or points something out. If it's being used as an adjective, it has to agree with a noun in gender, number, and case. If it's being used as a pronoun, then it's standing in the place of a noun. Just like for hic, haec, hoc, ille, illa, illud is going to use this chart. This chart, again, the 212 or us, adjective ending chart. We've used this for so many different things in Latin. Here's yet another example of where we need to know it. So you do know it, so we're not going to spend much time on it. Whereas with and there's ILL. No changes. That's it. Hic, haec, hoc, we had to change a couple forms around. Nothing here. So pronunciation, starting from the masculine nominative and going across. Illi, illi, illa. Illorum, illarum, illorum. Illis, illis, illis. Illos, illas, illa. Illis, illis, illis. That's it. Very simple. Very easy. Check please. Let's move on. Let's again start with the accusative and the ablative in the singular, and we'll work our way up. And as you'll see here, we added the prefix in front of the endings. Whereas for hic, haec, hoc, we had to make some changes on the end and some letter changes. We don't have to do any of that here. It's just illum, illam, illum, and then illo, illa, illo. Just like last time, we're going to get rid of those first three, the nominative, the genitive, and the dative singular. They don't quite follow the same pattern, but you won't be surprised, I don't think, by what you see. Remember, I told you that nominative singular, ille, illa, illud. You just got to remember it. It is what it is. So ille, illa, illud. Let's look at those neuters for a second. If you'll recall, and I hope you do, that nominative and accusative are the same for anything that's neuter, then illud here becomes illud here in the accusative. Okay? For the genitive, you should guess that it's going to start with ILL. Any guesses on what it's going to end with? Anybody? How about IUS? The same thing that we saw in hic, haec, hoc. We're just changing the prefix here. We had huius. Now we have ilius. Ilius, ilius, ilius. The fact that those endings are the same is not a coincidence. It's also not something I want to get into explaining right here. For that, you can come and talk to me. The dative, illi. I-L-L-I. All the way across. Illi, illi, illi. So that gives us ille, illa, illud. Ilius, ilius, ilius. Illi, illi, illi. Illum, illam, illud. Illo, illa, illo. Once again, a very easy chart. Easier than hic, haec, hoc. It's the prefix plus the us, adjective endings. You need to memorize it. Again, what do I recommend? Maybe this chart here, give yourself the first row. Maybe this one, whatever works for you. Everybody's a little different. Everybody needs to be the same, though, in really understanding this chart well so that translating Latin is easier for you. Speaking of translating, where do we see this? Let's start with the adjective. Remember, adjective agrees with noun, modifies a present noun in gender and number and case. They have to agree. So, ille puer means that boy over there, that particular boy. That's the emphasis that a demonstrative gives us. Illa, puella, would mean that girl. Illarum feminarum. The plural of that is those. So, of those women. Sometimes a lot of people can get this, these, and that, those mixed up. Be sure that you don't do that. This becomes these, that becomes those. Here's our adjective uses. How about a pronoun? Remember, pronoun takes the place of a noun, so there's no noun present. We need some kind of context. That also gives us some freedom in how we're going to translate. Ille could mean that man, or the man, or he. You have a little latitude there in how you want to do it. Illum, well, that's masculine, and it's accusative, and it's singular, so it's that man, or him, or the man. used as a direct object. Ille, feminine nominative plural. Those women, the women, them. Again, context, context, context. Just like for the first video, check out chapter 26. If you're using Ecce Romani, you want to get good at understanding and recognizing the various forms of demonstrative adjectives and pronouns.